All right, guys, we are going to do this lovely cup with some purple flowers and waffles. Who doesn't like waffles? I don't think I know anybody who doesn't like waffles. So let's get started. Good morning and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie. This is our painting for the day. We are going to have a fun time, relaxing, not worrying about what's going on out in the world, and just focusing on a little bit of creativity, a little bit of self-care, and a whole lot of fun. If you're here in the chat, say hello and get ready to have some fun because our chat is lovely. There are so many fun and kind people, very creative and full of really good ideas. We are doing this on a piece of the Hanamule bamboo mixed media paper. It's 265 GSM or about 125 pounds. I'm using just that inexpensive little fan palette of watercolor paints to paint with. And it was drawn with one of these eco pens. They are a cardboard tube with the pen insert. It's a nice fine point. It's about a 0.38. It has waterproof ink or water resistant ink. And this is the original art that I drew. So they were all drawn during a 14-hour marathon. Yeah. 14-hour marathon, 30 cute and cozy creative, or 30 cozy creative hand-drawn designs. There we go. It's available on Teespring. The link is down below. All the links are down below in the more information box. And over in the chat, if you're here during the live, and up in the iCard after the live is over. So there we go. And that's enough of that. We'll talk about the Valentine book and the Valentine mini marathon that's coming up a little bit later. So let's get started here though. I'm going to go to the top down. And the original for this on that reference right there had a black background, and I did not want a black background. So somebody was having serious technical issues today, but they're not having issues now. And that's the thing that makes me happy. And Natalie. Okay, you're just Natalie. All right. Hello and welcome. I am going to get this background wet. It's going to be sort of a softly worked in background. We are just using watercolor to color this in. And if you download the book, you can color it in however you want. There's a chunk of something on my brush. There we go. But see, I'm just getting this wet right over the top of that ink. I want to work those flowers in as I'm doing the background. Excuse me. So we're just going to get this all wet so we can loosely put those flowers in. And I'm noticing that my water is actually dirty. So I'm going to take that dirty water out of the way and give myself some clean water. I did a live stream late, 4 in the afternoon yesterday. And I didn't change my water afterwards. There we go. So now we've got this background in. You're going to go for a walk, Debbie? Well, have a lovely walk. Get some of that exercise. Get some of that vitamin D going in your system. There we go. So now we've got that background on. And I think I'm actually going to do it with a soft green. I want it to be a little bit more fresh, a little bit more sort of... let's see, how do I want to put that? I want this background to feel a little more spring-like. So instead of winter, I'm going to say this is a Sunday morning brunch on a happy day. All right, Nikki. Not telling anybody. my friend Cinnamon, she has people who watch from work also. And one day they found out that the boss was watching and the worker was watching. And they found each other that they were both in the same chat at the same time, which is kind of funny. So right now, we've just got that soft green background. I'm going to take a paper napkin and just sort of wad it up and gently blot in the area where the flowers are going to be. So I am going to drop some color on those. It's going to be a, purple, pink type of flower. I'm not sure what the flower is that was in that little vase, but it looks kind of like the flower that you would find. I'm going to put a little bit of some other color in here too. This is just a stronger version of that same green. The flowers in the picture actually remind me of the flowers from sage. That sort of almost weedy looking flower. The background is wet, so I can just drop some of these colors on here. And I'm still actually I just moved into this other green. So I started with I'm not sure what green that is. I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So C23, C24, C25. So in that range right here. This palette is super inexpensive. It is not an expensive palette. It is like $15 online. So, use what you've got. If what you have is a set of kids Crayola or Prang watercolors, you're set. You don't need anything else to get started. So there we go. Just getting some of that color just laid in, and I will blot this off. Hey, Kashuki, welcome. Welcome. I love that we have some audience that is coming back and visiting with us from all around the world. So there. All right, I'm going to grab, even while it's wet, I am going to take some of this magenta and some of whatever blue that is. And let's see if we get a purple. Ooh, we got a purple. And I am going to just drop some of that on. Just like this. Free form, free flowing. Not worried about making it look like actual flowers. Just getting, ooh, that's pretty. So yes, my tape is lifting a little bit. I like that my colors aren't blended together completely. I like having that mixture sort of happen. Maybe even touch a little bit more of the blue in. Ooh, I like that. See, and that is one of the reasons why it's fun to drop the colors on while everything is still wet. We can go in and refine. We can add more detail. Ah, thank you. Oh, well, you guys, I am so glad that you're here and you can help to give support to each other. That is so lovely. The chat is beautiful. I love my chat. And good morning. There we go. So, looking at this, I want to put just a smidge of some shadow, but I'm not going to actually make it a dark shadow. I'm taking just a little bit of the purple into that green. And I'm just going to go right up. Let's see if we go to the other view. I'm going to go right up on the edge of my brush and just in that wet paint just in that wet paint, just give it a little bit of a change of color. Not a ton, not a ton. Ooh, that's a ton. Don't want that. Need to add a bit more of the green back to it. There we go. Just make that shadow sort of flow around here, and then that means that there's going to be a shadow on that side of the cup. This paper is really cool because we can go back in and soften things up. You didn't see the shadows in the original because the background was black. You enjoy the watercolor as you've not done any? Ah, well, I hope that you try it. It's fun to watercolor. It's fun, especially when you do it like this, where it's more like just coloring and not worrying about it being, perfect. It's just putting color down and letting it just flow around a little bit. But if you don't like that, you can be very considered, very steady with your colors, the way you put them down. But I'm just getting some color on here and just having a nice time looking at that chat. Watercolor is very relaxing. It is. And I'm going to go back to the top down. So now we can see a little bit more. I'm going to clean up that little bit right there. This paper, the bamboo mixed media paper by Hanimal, oh my goodness. Because you can move the paint around so nicely, but it will stay if you don't touch it. It doesn't flow out of the way super quick. It gives you the opportunity to move it if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm looking at that going, I want a little more shadow under here. There's going to be shadow on the inside of the plate. So, but I do want, let's see, I think I'm going to just grab a little bit of the Prussian blue because that Prussian blue is my favorite blue, and put that there and pick up a little bit of the burnt sienna color, or sepia color. It's a little bit of a brownier tone. See how that makes my shadow change. And I am still using that big brush. I don't have to. I can go to a smaller brush. It just happens to be what I had in my hand. So I'm just tapping some of that shadow in with the corner of the brush. You can use whatever brush you have that makes you more comfortable. This does hold a lot of paint, but it doesn't hold a ton of water. So there we go. Oh, guys, if you are interested, I did just get notice from Amazon late last night that my book is available on Amazon now. So I did put the link up pinned at the top of the chat and down in the comment section below the video. A little bit more shadow right in there. And a little bit of shadow here. I'm making the shadows up as I go along because I don't have shadows. I am so glad that, Amy, you are feeling better, that you were feeling under the weather, but you're feeling better. I appreciate that you're here and that you're taking some time for yourself. All right, I want to dry this, and I'm going to move to my round brush. So to dry it, I'm just using this is actually a heated craft tool. It's made for people who use embossing powder and stuff like that, but you can just use a hair dryer. You can't wait to order the book? Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's really, I'm excited. I've already ordered 3 copies of it and they should be here by Sunday, I think. So I'm excited to see it. Now this paper does warp and wobble but all we do is spray the back of it after we're all done. Just spray it with some plain water, light mist, and then set it underneath of something heavy for a few hours, and it will flatten out really nice. Aha, Suzanne already ordered it this morning. Oh, excellent. You must have turned on the notifications on Amazon so that when an author you like publishes something new, you get notified. I like how we start with a really simple drawing and we can make it look as detailed as we want. All right. Now, something that I see here, I want to clean up my plate. And because this paper releases the colors so nicely, I can go like this and get it wet, kind of scrub it along, and I can blot it off. So now it's not as strong on the edge there, because there's going to be more of a highlight on this edge. I don't want it to be as stained. So what you do is you just get it soft, move it around. Hey, Joanne, nice to see you. So if anybody is interested, I have scheduled the Valentine Marathon, which is going to be January 16th. And the reason why I'm doing it January 16th is because it's a Saturday, for one, and it gives you a month to get stuff done to give to your friends and family for Valentine. You know, so many times people will wait until just like a couple days before a holiday to do their holiday art on YouTube, but then there's not enough time for the community to do the work. Oh, Kashuki, that is wonderful to hear that when you first started with watercolor, you were having some issues, and then you started watching some of my videos and you started getting some tips and tricks to help you out. I like that. I like knowing that I'm helpful. That really is on my list of things to do, is to be a helpful person. Let's just zoom in here a little more. There we go. I'm going to rotate that back. So I'm just cleaning up the cup and the plate right now. Just softening up so that there's not a hard edge of that paint. This cup is going to become a turquoise, I believe. Kind of a turquoise teal color. Lorianne, you're going to be stalking the mailman now that you've got the book ordered. Ah. Well, I appreciate your support, guys. I really, really do. It's so nice to be able to be part of a community like this and have the support of the community. And I like being able to give things to you guys. So yeah, the Valentine, I'm going to show you how to draw all of these designs, all 6 of these designs. I'm going to show you how to draw in real time. And then we will take a break and come back with a second video, and I will show you how to paint the designs. So this Saturday is going to be a fun-filled day. See, because I printed it out on watercolor paper. So if you don't want to draw, up these designs, I already have a downloadable available on my Teespring store. But if you do want to print them, if you want to print them, then you can make it into a little booklet, or you can make it into Valentine cards. So, and this is just watercolor paper that's been cut to fit in. And that's on my Teespring store. It's an instant download now. I've already got it set up for you to be able to get there. I wanted to make sure that I talked about that a little earlier than before. Yeah, being able to see a painting completed in real time is a lot of fun. There's a few creators out there that do, but watercolor being something that, you know, you kind of have to let it dry and then you come back. Many people don't like to do the live time, real time. There we go, real time. My brain. I'm grabbing some of this green that's kind of like a really phthalo-y type of green. Typing with the remote. Ha! When you become a patron, don't they normally let me know? Yes, and you should have got an email from me right away, Michelle, because I did send you an email saying, thank you so much for becoming a patron. I hope that's what, you know. I hope you're not saying that you didn't get your welcome. Please let me know. So here I've made this really pretty sort of teal blue color. And I'm going to go in and start painting in my cup. I am going to leave some highlight and put in some dark shadow right here next to the handle. I mean, next to where the handle meets the actual cup. I'm going to put a little bit of that super dark right there. Just like that. I am going to see, I'm looking at the reference to figure out what am I looking at. I want to darken it up, so I'm using a little bit of the Prussian blue into, I mix phthalo blue and sap green, or it's kind of a phthalo-y green. And I'm saying that's what the color looks like to me, so I was able to make that really pretty turquoise color. Then I took some of the Prussian blue and added that to it now to get a really dark version of the color. You're busy with the Valentine book already, Shauna? Oh, that's excellent. And Linda, welcome. Yeah, it's nice to see everybody coming in, hanging out. I'm using a little bit lighter version. And yes, my paint is all wet, so if things start moving around a little bit, it's because the paint is still wet, and that's okay. I'm making this rim that same color, that sort of turquoise blue or teal, and I'm working it around this edge. We're going to put coffee or tea into this cup. This is the number 12 round mimic squirrel watercolor brush. It is by Creative Mark. I got it in a set of, I think it was the big set. So it had the wide brush and the 1-inch brush, the 12, the 8, the 6, the 4, the 2. I think that's what it came with. But there is a smaller set that comes with the, I think it's like 5 brushes. It doesn't have the 12, but it has the 10, and that's plenty big. I think mine was 12/8 4/2, and then it had the others. And then the smaller set has like the 10, the 6, and the 2. And that's the round brush. All of these come to such a lovely point. Ah, there we go. Yeah, we don't really do gossip here. We do, care, love, positivity, those kinds of things. That's what we do here. And I'm just putting a little bit more of that blue in there, see? Let's go and zoom out so we can see that a little bit at a distance. Hello, Bikram. Hello. Nice to see you. See how that cup, I think right here, I will probably take a tiny bit of gouache and soften that highlight out up here on the handle and give it a little bit of a highlight, but this will be at the end. I think I want to deepen up a little bit of the color here. I did leave some areas with just the sort of a highlight showing up. There we go. So that, I may want to put more of a shadow down below so that that top edge shows up brighter, or just put a highlight on it with the gouache. So class 11, so that would put you 16, 17 age. Wow. And it's late at night your time. I know you're studying late at night. So it's the internationalness of this group. It just never ceases to amaze me. And I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, I want to put, I think I want to put the coffee in here so I can blot that out and get that flower laying over the top. And to put the coffee in, I am going to use a little bit of gouache and a little bit of the, first off, and the gouache is just an opaque watercolor. This is the water-based kind. It's not the acrylic. So I'm just taking that in. You see how it's just got, I think I had a little bit of the blue in there. Might be reflecting stuff around, right? When I work a little bit more brown into it, it'll be fine. And see, that's something I want you to see. You don't have to worry if you pick up a color and it ends up not being exactly what you wanted. You can work it out. You're not stuck. But I mean, just look at that. That already looks like coffee with foam on top, right? Let's add a little bit of some brown tone to it. Kind of make it a little bit creamier. I'm using the gouache to lighten my paints and to make them a little more opaque, just like you would do, just like you would have from real cream and foam. It's a little bit opaque. It's not as clear as regular coffee, right? So I'm just putting in my foamy bit, but I'm not being too particular. I'm not being too stressed over how it goes in. And this is actually one of those times when looking at it and going, you know what? I don't want to put too much. I don't want to overwork it, but I do want a little bit more brown coffee showing up in my cream, in that foam. See? Just a touch. How that's just making it feel like, kind of like that reference photo right there, doesn't it? But I'm not worried about making it look exactly like it. There's no point in making it look exactly like it. As soon as you pick up the cup of coffee, it would all move anyway, right? So now I'm looking at that going, I need a little bit of a gray on the inside edge of that cup. So I'm taking some of the Prussian blue and a little bit of that sepia brown to make a soft gray. You can use burnt umber. You can use, there it is. There it is. There's the gray I wanted. It's a little bit more blue. It's a cool gray. And I'm going to go on the inside edge of the cup. What this does is it makes it feel like you're looking down inside without having a lot of work to do it, right? Look, we just did that. I did use the circle template to draw those cups. So this is to draw the cup, to draw the plate, to draw the vase. I did use the circle template maker, or circle maker. This is the Helix circle ruler. So pretty nice. But you could use something like this and draw around the inside of it to make your circles. See? So you're not limited to having just one tool to do things. Ah, thank you guys. Yeah, the hearts are going to be so much fun. Now we're going to zoom out. I wanted to zoom out so that I could look at it and so that I could see it and maybe soften that shadow. I just cleaned my brush and I'm just softening that shadow a little bit. Not too much. Not too much. Just a little bit, softening it up, and it makes it feel like it's down inside the cup a little bit more. Leaving a little bit of a highlight. Right there. And then maybe I'll put just a little bit more of the darker color in, but on top of the wet paint or the wet surface now, it's going to bleed just a little bit and give us that soft area going down inside. Oh yeah, if you're new here, click that subscribe button. If you just walked in and you haven't been around for very long today, and you may not have done it already, make sure and hit that like button. You see what I did? I had painted on it and then I dabbed it off. There. Just like that. Just like that. Just putting some shadows down inside. All right. So I do want to get some of that blue color my purple made. I'm making it a little bit stronger this time. And I'm going to first just put some dark version of the purple down, and then I will add white to it. But I'm going to use this and detail up a little bit on these guys too. See? Because I have that darker or the lighter sort of spread out version, now going in and just tapping a few of these colors, the purple color down. Just details it a little bit, just makes it feel a little more like there's more flowers there. Just like this. And we're able to end up with pretty flowers. Very little work. See, we're just dabbing, just tapping right over the top of those areas where we had put that color right into the background. So just like that. And just laying the colors in and not worrying about them being in a specific location. Yeah, that's the cool thing there. You know, bacon is one of those foods that you either really like pork products or you don't. Or, as some people say, you really like them or you're wrong. And I don't believe that. I don't believe anybody is wrong in their likes or dislikes of food. But I happen, yeah, I make a treat for family during the holidays that is the Little Smokies The little smoky sausages wrapped with bacon and baked in the oven with a little bit of brown sugar. Ooh, getting paint on my hand. Bacon is a smoked pork product. It is usually made from the meat that's on the belly and sliced. It's like pork chops, but smoked and sliced thin with a little bit of the fat. It's not a healthy food, but it's very tasty, and it does flavor things really nicely. So they usually smoke it and cure it. Oh, that's pretty. That is pretty. I'm going to take a little bit of that white gouache that we had there. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the purple and put some of that on. Some of those flowers, just a few of them, not very much. If I put too much, it's going to just cover over everything. But it gives us a little highlight, a subtle highlight. It's not a strong highlight. So there we go. Pretty, pretty light end. So we're getting the flowers in. I think the vase is just going to be white, or maybe ever so slightly. It will have a slight hint of that blue color reflecting on it. It's going to have a bit of that purple reflecting on it. It's going to be sort of dark up inside the actual vase. So I'm just going to make kind of a dark color, brownish. The plant is not growing out of it. It's just going to be like it's dark down inside. So I just took some sepia and some blue and I'm just putting it down in there to start off with. Do you see how we've got those pretty, pretty soft colors on the vase now? And I'm not going to do too much to the vase. The vase is pretty much just going to be like that. I think pretty much just like that. So let's look at it sideways. Maybe a little bit darker down at the bottom corner. Just like this. And I do want to make the inside of that way darker, inside of that pot. Wow, Linda, you've got quite the varied background. Communications in college. That's cool. I was computer programming and data processing in college. I got to take one art class in college. So let's see here. I want to dab off my brush a little bit and maybe put a little bit of some shadow down here. A little bit more shadow. Just that sort of blue tone that I've got. Just work it out just a little bit. Maybe a little bit darker down in there. Feels a little light. Just soften it up. Just soften it up. And don't worry about making it perfect, guys. This is it's just paper. That's the cool thing, right? It is just paper. So enjoy the process. And if you don't like how it ends up in the end, it's no big deal. It's just paper. Grab another piece of paper. Try again. All right. I am going to just take a bit of that darker green and sort of dance it around. But I'm glad that I have the opportunity to share artwork with people. I'm much happier doing this than I would have been doing the computer programming. Computer programming is a very lonely job, actually. I do like solving puzzles and such, and that's basically computer programming is just, or coding is just solving puzzles. So solving puzzles is fun, but I like to have my own direction in life, and solving puzzles for other people is just not as much fun. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just adding a little bit more shadow bit there. And I am going to take some of that gray and I'm going to go around on the inside of this plate. So this edge up here is actually the edge going down. Right, like that. And then there's a bit of shadow underneath of that waffle. And there's some shadow here. And a little bit of a cast shadow there going up. And I think I'm going to put, even though the plate doesn't show it, I think I'm going to put that teal blue on the plate too. So that teal blue that we had already made, I'm going to grab some of that and put that on the plate. So I'm just going to go around like this. Whoop. And if your hand wobbles or wanders, don't worry about it. It's all part of the charm, right? We're making charming art. That's what I want to say. We're making charming art. We're making art that is delightful. That's my goal. I want to make art that is delightful, that is giving joy. I like to give joy. I like to share joy. You know, I'm going to take some of that white gouache that was sitting there. And I'm mixing it with a little bit of that teal and sort of running it around. Just like this. The gouache makes it feel a little bit more solid because it is opaque, but it also can make it feel more light. It's really weird. It can give you so many different variations. And if you only have a white gouache, you can paint an entire painting in color, in gouache, because all you do is mix your white gouache into your different watercolors, and you end up with colored gouache. Oh, that's looking good. Let's zoom out even farther. See, when we zoom out really far on it, we can get a better view. And I think that our shadow under this edge back here is the one that really needs to be darker. because I'm making up my shadows on the ground, I want a stronger shadow right under the edge of this vase, and a stronger shadow right here along the edge of this cup. But we don't have to do those quite yet. I like the shadows in the plate here. I think those are looking good. Yeah, the flowers are real pretty, aren't they? They're kind of subtle. They're not, the flowers are not overdone. I like that. I will go back in and put some darker green or sagey green in on the stems and the leaves. But I think I want to get these waffles. I want to get the waffles going in. So let's just see what we're looking at. My coffee is half full, and it is sadly cold. I need to move my water over to the side so I can keep that up where we can see it. So starting off here, this waffle back here, I'm going to paint both of the waffles in with a medium brown. The top one here is going to become chocolate covered. These are definitely dessert waffles. They are not breakfast. That's one of the things with waffles, is that they always seem much more dessert than breakfast to me. When I was growing up, my parents would have a Sunday brunch with friends at our house. And they would, especially in the springtime, and they would do waffle brunch with big huge bowls of whipped cream and sliced strawberries and fresh waffles and butter. And then they would make, grown up champagne, sparkly orange juice and champagne drinks. But us kids would have orange juice. I'm just going to go in this one. I'm really going to put in the yellow ochre type color to start off with. That's going to be our base color. And it actually will be the brightest color or lightest color on these waffles. And I don't want to go too yellow on this. So I think... You love cold coffee. You used to get it when... Now, I like cold coffee when it's supposed to be cold. I like cold coffee when it's hot outside, I think is what I'm trying to get at. I am going to take the kind of sepia brown. I'm just getting it really... Oh yeah, that'll be good. And yes, I am doing it right next to the other waffle that is wet. There's going to be a shadow down in there anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. This is very much like a picture frame pattern on the inside of these. Like the little wells are very much like little picture frames. And if you were doing this in an illustrative style, kind of like what I'm doing, but if you wanted to do it more quickly, you wouldn't worry about going in and getting all of those little white edges. You would let those little white edges just sort of hang out. Now it is still wet. I am taking that sepia brown into these wells and I'm letting it just bleed out. Let's go to the side. So why is Times Square so famous? Times Square is famous because that's where a lot of companies built stuff and made put information boards and things like that up there. And it became a tourist area where they would advertise all the new plays on Broadway. The entertainment centers were in that area. See, look at that. We're already starting to get a golden waffle. I think that's great. And really what's happened here is the waffle. If you look at that reference up there, whoop, where's the reference? Right up there. Right there. If you look at the reference right there, you can see that there's chocolate around the back edge. This edge back here, it showed a little chocolate. On the angle that I'm at, I will be showing some chocolate down here on this corner. It's just one of those things. I am going to go ahead and I think I'll take some of that Prussian blue and that same sepia type color, maybe a little bit of some burnt sienna to warm that up just a bit. More burnt sienna. And I'm going to start darkening up inside these wells, getting that dark chocolate feeling started. But I'm not going to be super specific. I'm letting it sort of bleed around a little bit. I'm not making it totally dark in there though. And the reason why is because then it starts to feel like you're seeing down in, if you've got places for the reflection on top. You're looking forward to getting your Cozy Creative book from Amazon? Excellent! That is so cool. You put syrup in a small cup for the kids to dunk their waffles and pancakes. No sugar overdose. Yeah, until they tip it out over everything. I was definitely a sugar overdose kid. So now I'm starting to take some of that brown. I'm starting to paint that brown around on some of the, but it's a lighter version. I want the darkest part of it to be down inside the wells. Chocolate dipped waffles. I might have to make waffles for lunch today. We have had, I would do things like make a bechamel, a white cream sauce with tuna, and have that over waffles. So it was a savory dinner. It wasn't a sweet dinner. And it felt like you were having breakfast for dinner, but it wasn't. It was a little more special. A little more special. Looking at that. Oh, wow. Those are looking really yummy, aren't they? I am going to go in and let's see here. Thinking about this, going maybe a little bit darker and coming up. A little bit darker and coming up now. The paper is starting to dry out a little bit, so as it dries out, you can start doing more and more details, finer and finer details. You don't have to wait until it's perfectly dry to start adding some more detail. This is kind of that chocolate that's come up around the bottom. It's not burned. It's not burned waffles. So what I need to do, I think, is, let's see, what do I need to do? I need to put a little bit of red. I need a little red in that. Not that red. Let's see, maybe this one. I'm working about it. Why is Times Square so famous? Anybody? Yeah, Bikram, like I said, I'm not sure. The United States is quite a large place, and we don't all have the history of all of the places. I would have to go onto Google to look it up to find out why is Times Square famous. Google is my friend. I can find just about anything there. And it's definitely a, something, especially people of your generation, Bikram, that can, that have grown up with the technology. You ordered the book on Amazon and it got to you in 2 days. Now you think you're going to purchase the PDF version as well and print it out on watercolor paper. Excellent, Donna. Yeah, I did my here. I think, Donna, you didn't see this. I have a new little Valentine's set that we're going to do a marathon on Saturday, and this is all printed on watercolor paper. So what I'm going to do is show people how to draw these Valentines in a marathon, and then we will come back and do a second video and do the coloring. But this is all printed on watercolor paper. My recommendation, if you are printing PDFs on watercolor paper, print on draft mode, because it will put the least amount of the ink from your printer onto the paper. And then you have less of a chance of it. That's making it very purple. Now let's go gray. It makes it less of a chance of your watercolor, less of a chance of the ink from the inkjet printer to bleed into your watercolor paper while you are actually painting. There, that's what I was trying to say. Finally got all the words out. See, look at that chocolatey brown. And that was made by adding a little bit of some of the burgundy color and the Prussian blue and the sepia brown. And by layering up your colors here, you are getting more depth. Oh yeah, in your printer settings, you go to advanced settings. Pretty much every printer has it. And you can put it into draft mode. So then it doesn't use as much ink. It's or ink saver mode. If it doesn't say draft, it might say ink saver. Put it into ink saver mode and you will not put as much ink on the paper, and it doesn't bleed on your watercolor paper when you get it wet as much. It might bleed a little bit, and generally speaking, the ink on a inkjet, the black, is much more blue. So know that it's probably going to shift to cooler tones. Hello, Samuel. Welcome. Welcome back. So there we go. And now I'm going to water that brown down just a little bit, maybe put a little yellow ochre so I can kind of glaze in to that backside there. I don't want to cover up all of my lighter part of the wells, but I do want it to look like the color is all together and that the whole thing is covered in chocolate. And yes, this paper is buckling. I am putting a lot of water, but like I said, all we have to do is afterwards spray the back of your paper with just plain water in a mist sprayer and make sure there's no puddles on it. Set it down on something flat and waterproof. Put a book or something heavy, couple books, heavy books piled on top of it, and it will come out nice and smooth. This is the Hanamule bamboo mixed media paper. So it's 90% bamboo and 10% cotton. So it's a very ecologically sound type of material. Oh, I like that. Let's go to the top view and let's see how we're looking. And zoom out. So Samuel, you're not going to be mean. You're here to have fun and enjoy the video. And that's what I like. We've got people, sometimes people check us out and they think we're one thing and then we're just this really sweet, calm place to be. I'm taking some of the white gouache and putting a little bit of some highlight in here. Just a few spots. Just a few spots. I'm kind of very, very, very lightly just sort of trying to hit some of those little edges, not being too harsh or specific there. Where's Linda gone? Linda had little ones to take care of. And Donna says, I have the little ones. Thank you for getting waffles this week. You have inspired me to make them now. Ah, you're welcome. I'm glad. I've inspired me to make some waffles too. Yeah, because people have lives that, you know, we go in and out of people's live streams. Sometimes we're there for the whole thing. Sometimes we have to duck out, or we pop in for half a second and then we duck out again. And see, I'm just little touches of some highlights here and there. See, it's not showing up as much of a highlight on this one because it's lighter. So what I'd need to do is add a little bit of white to my yellow. I'll have to clean that because I've got gouache on my watercolor palette right there now. Actually, I just wanted to warm, ooh, that's warming that up nicely. There we go. There we go. And I think Linda had her her son that she needed to go and do something with for a little while. All right, Hartley, you're going to go and finish your school. Take care. Have fun. I need to warm that up. I need to warm up this one. It's looking a little bit cold, so I'm going to bring some burnt sienna on there. Oh, that's nice. That's warming that waffle up. What I mean by warming it up is that it had gone a little bit to the blue-gray colors, and I wanted it more in the toasty, warm bread type color. See, little touches. That's all it took. Didn't take a whole mishmash of time to do that, did it? I'm going to put just a little bit of that darker tone down here. We're going to see right now, this is sort of blending together. Those two waffles are blending together. I am going to dry really quick. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. It's fun to do these kinds of paintings. Yeah, an omelet would be eggs that are beat up and put into a pan, cooked until it's set up, and then usually sprinkled with things that you have sautéed up in another pan. Mushrooms, onions, meats or other vegetables. Put that on, and then I like to put cheese. Put cheese on it, and then fold the omelet so it's in half. You have half a circle with the filling. It's really yummy. There we go. Ah, this is looking so pretty. I do want to put a little bit of shadow in the background on this one. I don't want it up here. I want that edge to be kind of light, so I want this one down below to get darker. So I'm taking a bit of my burnt sienna brown. My brush is very dry, actually. It's ever so slightly damp. because see how that allows me to put the color where I want it without having it go running all over the place. And that's something, the drier your watercolor is, the more concentrated the pigment will be. Look at that. There'd be a bit of a shadow right down in here. A little bit, something right up there. And it's kind of fun having the pen lines show up because you don't have to work as hard. That's something that I like. You don't have to work as hard when you have a pen line on here. It gives you a little bit of your definition without having to, ooh, that edge right there. Oh yeah. See, and you start looking at it, look at your reference and look at your picture and go, maybe there's a bit of little highlight right there. Maybe there's a little bit on that corner. This edge right up here, there's a little bit more. And if you're not really happy with your brush, you can take this is a white pigment gel pen. It is the Signo Uniball or Uniball Signo UM153. It does have a bit of a broad tip. I like to put just a touch of it down and then kind of move it with my finger, smudge it. It gives you a really nice bright white. And I did a whole series of doodle gems where I did colored pencil and used this pen, this type of pen, about 5 years ago. And the pen has not yellowed on any of those drawings, which that makes me really super happy. So I'm just putting a few of those little sparks of highlight. I think a little spark of highlight here along the cup edge. See, a little bit. You can let it be a little scratchy. Right here by the handle, since, oh, let's zoom in. Right here by the handle, since this part down here is really dark, you want the edge of your cup up above it to kind of be a little lighter. Where there's a dark, there needs to be a light so you can see it. So there, I'm going to put a little spark of light right here, and maybe even a tiny bit right there on that handle. And you can smudge it with your finger just a little bit. And if you want, you can put, with this pen, you can make little dots where your flowers are. Give you a little bit higher highlight. Oh, I like that. Just a touch. Oh, I need to put the green in on the branches. And I want a little bit of that higher highlight on the rim of the plate, like right here. Just a bit, maybe a little bit of, just a bit. Just sparkling it up. See, that white just gives you a little bit of sparkle. Not anything too, again, we're not being super detailed. See how random I'm doing that. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, Chrissy, the pen is awesome for making quick little highlights. And if you take a wet brush to it, you can soften this ink out and it looks like gouache. See? You can soften the ink out. It's not waterproof, so this really needs to be like your very top last thing that you do in an area. You know, if you don't want that to show up, you can erase it with water. Just like that. I am going, oh yeah, a little bit of, maybe a little bit of some white. Just little sort of sparkles on that. On that, maybe this edge right here, I'm going to just do it much more white. I might take my brush and soften that out just a smidge. Just a smidge. Not too much. Kind of working that shadow up in. Oh, see, that helped me to work that shadow up on the edge of the lip. There we go. All right, guys. Did I use gouache on the handle? I did. I went and put just a tiny little smudge of gouache right there. But this little line right here, I'm not as happy with, so I'm going to soften that one up. And maybe even just bring that color. I'm using my brush and I'm kind of softening right up along the edge of that cup handle because I had a spot that was kind of making me a little bit uneasy. You know, if something makes you uneasy in your painting, just fix it. And if you can't fix it, cover it up. I was able to fix it. There, that makes me happier. Let's zoom out. I want to put some green into these little leaves, and I'm going to use the gouache. So I'm just going to reconstitute this little lump of gouache that's sitting here. It's not as fresh now, which is fine because I'm just going to sort of take all these green colors that are on here and make sort of a sagey, sage, slightly whitish type of green. Sort of a sage, sort of a lavender green. I think it does need a little bit more green. Just take a touch. It is opaque-ish from that gouache. So if people are listening to me or watching the video with captions on, I try to speak cleanly and clearly. Sometimes the captions will be a little bit interesting, a little bit different than what I was expecting it to come up and say. I'm adding just a little bit more green, and it's kind of making it a bit more pronounced. Just adding a touch, though. I don't need it to be totally opaque, but I want to have some variations. Going off the edge, giving it a little bit of green in just a few spots. Not too much. Just enough to make it feel like there's something there. They're not totally floating in mid-space. Hello, Julia. Welcome. I am going to take a bit of this green that I have mixed up on top here and add just a little bit more green to my table, into those shadows, just because it makes me happy to do that. I wanted to brighten it up just a bit, make those shadows a little bit fresher. It was starting to look a little tired. I wanted them to freshen up just a smidge. So there's some brighter green in this shadow on the table now. But it's not a perfect shadow, and that's okay, because we are looking at it from the top, and there's multiple light sources is what I'm thinking. This is a picnic out in, this is a picnic tea out in the afternoon, under the trees, in the garden. There we go. That makes me really happy. So I am going to put those off out of the way. I want to dry it. There we go. Yeah, Times Square is where you buy the tickets for Broadway. It's also where they have all the huge billboards for Broadway pictures, or Broadway shows. I've been to Times Square once. Right now it is not overly filled with people, but it tends to be overly filled with people. All right, Bonnie, you have a lovely day. And guys, wow, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with your friends. Look at that. I'm looking at this now and going, the pot right there, that right there needs to be darker, in the dirt area there. And that's one of the things that you'll find. You'll find that you'll need to pump up your contrast sometimes. So I'm going to just mix a little bit of sepia brown and Prussian blue. I'm not going to color it in completely. There. Just partly. Dry it one more time. Now you want waffles. Yeah, I think that waffles are in my future. I think the day that I drew these, the day after, because I had said that I wanted waffles, my husband said, where's my waffles? You said you were making waffles? So I think that's what I'm having for lunch. Waffles are so easy. So easy. So yeah, go ahead, click that like button too, guys. I would love to see those like button clicks matching up with our number of viewers. That's always a fun one when they match. And we are going to pull the tape off. So let's zoom this out just a smidge, because I know the pull the tape off is the part that lots of people hang out for. So we're going to pull that tape off. We just heated the whole thing up. Now, I do have some overflow. Yeah, I will just paint this out with white gouache after everything is dry. That where it overflowed underneath the tape, you just paint it out. Move this out of the way. So we have waffles. Just rotate it around so you can see. Look at that. Doesn't it feel like just that wonderful, cozy picnic on the back patio with waffles and chocolate waffles? I think that is so cool. I do need to sign it. I think I'm going to sign it down here by the handle of the cup. And I just put my initials on here. And I do need to make sure my pen is flowing. There we go. So something with this Eco Pen is if your paper is wet, it will kind of spread. The ink will spread. So make sure your paper is dry. I will be because you see how wobbly this is, I will be spraying the back of it with water and wiping off any of the puddles, laying it down, putting a piece of paper on top of it, and setting a book on top and pressing it really, really well so that it will go nice and flat. I am so excited. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you like this series, check out the 30 Cozy and Creative Hand-Drawn Designs. You can print and color the book from Teespring, and you can print it out on watercolor paper and paint right along with me, or you can go to Amazon and purchase the actual book from Amazon. It will be printed. I will have my copy Sunday, so then I'll be able to show you. But this was my book from last month, and so the book is going to be printed very similarly. It's going to have a nice cover like this, and will be the same size, which is the same size as the downloadable book. I hope that you guys have fun with that, and make sure to check out the Valentine's mini marathon that we're doing on Saturday. We will be doing all of the art, all of these pictures. I'm going to show you step by step, live, with a chat, how to draw all of these designs. And then we are going to be coming back with a second video marathon, and I will show you how to paint the designs. So I've only painted 3 of them. This is on watercolor paper, and this is from the printout from this booklet. So you can put it together as a booklet and pop it in an envelope and mail it to someone, and they've got a little coloring book. Or you can print it out on watercolor paper, cut them apart, and have Valentines that you can send. So there. And this is the actual watercolor on a piece of printed on watercolor paper, but the watercolor painting is the actual one that I did, and this is just a printout of that watercolor. Pretty cool, huh? Turns out really nice. So thank you guys. Remember, take care of yourself. Do something creative. How about let's do that again? Do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. I want to see you back here again tomorrow. We will be doing... Let's see, what are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow is the wall with flowers and glass jars. This one's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you then, and we will see you later. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.